Chapter 1730. Hello, Chi Yuiverong. Chi was furious. His voice was trembling as he spoke. But I'm useless. I can't do anything. I have to stay silent to survive. He can be cruel to the outside world. What makes you think he won't do the same to you? To him, there is only profit and nothing else, and he would use anyone as tools. He was a ruthless and emotionless man. The crowd turned cold. If it was just Rong Chi who said that, they would not take it to heart. Even if they died, they would not doubt their man or master. However, all those souls, they were all gone. When the soul was gone, they had no chance of being reincarnated. How could their master be so cruel? Elder Feiyu, what are we going to do now? The soul token is in master's hands, and we can't escape. If they could go back alive, they would still be useful for the Nan family, and their master would certainly treat them well. But the master was prepared to send them to their deaths, so how could they go back alive? I don't want to die, and I don't want my soul to be destroyed, a skilled master cried out. No one in the world was not afraid to die in such a ruthless state. Chinger, Nan Xian's cold eyes turned warm when he looked at Feng Ruqing. Are you all right? I'm fine, Feng Ruqing said indifferently. Whoever killed my spirit beasts just now, let them be buried with them. As for the rest, let Little Pot turn them into slaves. They had killed her spirit beasts. No matter what reason these people of the Nan family had, she did not want them alive, not even as her slave. Rong Chi panicked, jumped down from the sky, and flew toward Feng Ruqing, almost hugging her thighs and weeping. Maiden Feng am not one of them. I'm a traitor. I tried to run away from the cruel manor master. All I said just now is true. Feng Ruqing remained cold. I don't like traitors. Who can guarantee that you won't betray me later? It's better to kill you. Maiden Feng, I am not Nan Fang's man. He controls my old master. I have endured humiliation to live until today. You can't kill me. If you kill me, I won't be able to see my old master recover and never see young lady again. Young lady? Me for extra chapters. Feng Ruqing thought of what Ahua once said to her. She paused for a moment and asked, wasn't the young lady of the Nan family expelled by old Master Nan? Expelled? It's impossible. Rong Chi continued. The old master loves young lady very much. Even if young lady is disobedient and ungrateful, he is still reluctant to let her leave. Whatever young lady has done, the old master will always forgive her. What's your lattice name? Feng Ruqing lowered her eyes and asked. Rong Chi was tearful and pitiful. Her name is Nan Suyi. Nan Suyi, like a heavy stick. These words struck Feng Ruqing's heart, making her even more furious. Those bastards from the Nan family. All of them deserve to die. Rong Chi was confused. What did I say wrong? Why does Maiden Feng feel even angrier? Chapter 1731. Something happened to Tang Yinai mother. You just gave birth to little sister. Calm down. When Fu Chen saw Feng Ruqing's face's anger, he hurriedly spoke out to reassure her. I read from the book that a newborn child should not be brought outside. She's weak. Feng Ruqing regained her senses and looked down at the little girl she was holding in her arms. It should be fine. She is stronger than ordinary children. Nan Xian's eyes fell on Chiyu. He was as calm as an immortal in his white robes. Chinger, she has been with you for so long. Let me hold her. As soon as Nan Xian's hand came close to Chiyu, the little girl threw her little hand and slapped Nan Xian's face. She then pulled Feng Ruqing's sleeves, crying, State Preceptor, it seems like she doesn't like you. What have you done to her? Perhaps only Nan Xian and this little girl knew about this matter. A little girl who could have been born with great strength had her wings broken by him. Even though the little girl did not understand anything at the moment, she had subconsciously rejected Nan Xian. Feng Ruqing even saw the wary look in her little girl's eyes. Little Nine. Big Black's body gradually shrank in the void and finally transformed into a young man. This young man was very handsome and looked like a stunning demon. After hearing the voice, Feng Ruqing looked up at Big Black, surprised. Are you Big Black? When did you get back? She had never seen Big Black as a young man before, but she would not mistake his voice. How did Big Black find her? The young man stiffened slightly. He was so huge just now, And little Nine did not even notice him? You've come back just in time. Feng Ruching looked at the crowd of people from the Nan family and sneered. These people killed my spirit beast. Leave no one behind. Those whose hands have not been stained with the blood of spirit beasts will remain as slaves. These people were Nan Fang's men. They must be as bad as him. And even though this group of people were so pitiful now, she still did not want to let them go. They had killed many innocent spirit beasts, something that she could never forgive. More importantly, Nan Fang. Hurt Suyi. Maiden Feng, what about me? Rongqi cautiously looked at Feng Ruching and asked. Well, decide later. Of course, she would not kill the innocent. If this old man was really Nan Fang's enemy, then there was no harm to let him stay. But my soul token is still in Nan Fang's hands. Rongqi paused, looked up at Feng Ruching, and asked. Me for extra chapters. Feng Ruching thought for a while before turning to Fu Qin. Is there a way? By being turned into slaves by Little Pot. They don't have to be blackmailed by others. Slaves. This word made Rongqi's face turn pale. He looked up at Feng Ruching pitifully. Fortunately, Feng Ruching did not want Rongqi to be her slave. She paused and asked, other than that? Big Black can do it. Big Black was born from the surrounding spiritual qi, and such things were not difficult to him. Good. Feng Ruching took a deep breath. Big Black, Little Pot, let's settle it. Chapter 1732. Something happened to Tang Yinai. The little pot buzzed and flew up into the air, its voice full of pleasure. Feng Ruching stood in front of the room, looking at the crowd blankly. Ahua looked at those skilled masters who had fallen in front of it, but there was no pleasure in its heart. These people were dead. However, its companions would never return. Feng Ruching could not see Tang Yin. She turned around and asked, by the way, where is Tang Yin? Oh, before those people came, she was already sent to the Hellion family. Tianya smiled. That girl is not strong, and she is your friend. It's dangerous to keep her here, so it would be better to send her to hide. That's good. Feng Ruching was relieved. Indeed, facing the Nan family, no one else had a chance of winning except for Tianya and Nan Xian. However, just as she turned around to enter the room, a figure rushed in through the door panting. Xiao Qing, come with me quickly. Something has happened to Tang Yin. Feng Ruching stopped in her tracks. She looked back at Hellion Yu behind her, frowning. What happened to Tang Yin? Initially, the relationship between Hellion Yu and Tang Yin was quite hostile. But Tang Yin was Feng Ruching's friend, and was sent to the Hellion family by Tianya. So she did care for her. I don't know. Hellion Yu's eyes were so red that she almost cried out. Just now, for some reason, there was something strange in Wushang City. The spiritual qi in the sky suddenly became very thick and completely out of control. My grandfather took advantage of this wave of spiritual qi to make a breakthrough. But Hellion Yu raised her pale face. Tang Yin suddenly fainted and still hasn't woken up. I was dodging my grandfather before rushing out to inform you. It was too dangerous outside. Old Master Hellion would not have allowed her to go out, and was planning to send guards to inform Feng Ruching. However, she was really worried and quietly ran out. Grandfather. Feng Ruching handed the little girl in her arms to Tianya. Keep an eye on her for me while I go to Hellion Manor with State Preceptor. The little girl's mouth fell open, and she was about to cry out. Feng Ruching turned to her little girl. Don't cry. I have something to do. I will hug you when I come back. The little girl seemed to understand. Her mouth was still open, but she did not cry out. Feng Ruching grabbed Hellion Yu's arm, panicked. Let's go. Hellion Manor. Tang Yin was lying on the bed with a pale face. She seemed to be in some pain, and was frowning. Me for extra chapters. Spiritual energy floated before Tang Yin, dense like fog. However, the energy did not enter her body, as if it was blocked. Qian Ning was already crying so hard that she could not breathe normally. Lady, will young lady be all right? What will I do if she dies? Can I be your servant? Xiao Ya's lips turned white. She squatted down, holding Tang Yin's hand tightly. The worry in her eyes was so intense that she was never willing to leave her for a moment. Bang! The door of the room was kicked open. Xiao Ya turned to look at the door, and saw the two people following behind Hellion Yu. She stood up happily, The first to step in was a woman in red with a gorgeous face, followed by a man in white, as handsome as an immortal, elegant and cool. Princess. Qianning looked at Feng Ruqing in tears. Can you save my young lady? Chapter 1733. Something happened to Tang Yin. Feng Ruqing moved very quickly, and in the blink of an eye, she was already in front of Tang Yin. At this moment, Tang Yin was as weak as a piece of paper, easily broken. Qianning, when the surrounding spiritual qi emerged just now, were their spiritual qi trying to enter her body? Feng Ruqing asked seriously. With tears in her eyes, Qianning nodded slightly. How did Princess know? That's why she fainted. She cultivates more quickly than an average person, and it is not a breakthrough, but the speed of absorbing spiritual qi. This was the advantage of being a beast man. But she has inhaled too much spiritual qi, and there was no way for it to be completely absorbed in her body, which has caused the spiritual qi to surround her, causing her to faint. Qianning was speechless. It sounded like a complicated situation. Will young lady die because of it? No, she won't die. Feng Ruqing was silent for a while before continuing. Qianning, you and Xiaoye leave first. State Preceptor, and I will help Tang Yin. Xiaoye never doubted Feng Ruqing. Her eyes were still full of worry, but gradually turned calm after seeing her. She nodded and turned to the door. Young lady. Qianning was a little reluctant to leave, but she wiped the tears from her eyes and eventually followed Xiaoye out. She then closed the door. Nanxian looked at Tang Yin lying on the bed. If you take her with you, it will be faster to heal Tang Yin. Her. Feng Ruqing looked at Nanxian confused. Your little girl. Feng Ruqing was speechless. Her name is Qiyu. Nanxian was startled. He did not even know that the little girl had already a name. However, Feng Ruqing turned to look at Tang Yin gently. This is an opportunity for Tang Yin to become stronger. I cannot always be by her side to protect her. She must grow up. Nanxian stroked Feng Ruqing's head. Qinger, will you promise me one thing? What? When she wakes up, don't look at her with that look in your eyes. Me for extra chapters. Why? I'm afraid she'll become obsessed with you. If Tang Yin could have heard them, the first thing she would have done when she woke up would have been to curse this couple. All right. Feng Ruqing smiled. We will start now. I want Tang Yin to absorb more spiritual qi. Only then would she be relieved when Tang Yin was not with her. Nanxian smiled calmly. He did not like Tang Yin, but Feng Ruqing loved her, so he would try his best to save her. Faint spiritual energy passed through Feng Ruqing's palm and was transmitted into Tang Yin's body. Tang Yin's expression improved a lot, and her tightly furrowed brows also relaxed. After her whole body relaxed, the spiritual qi from outside started to flow into her body. Time passed slowly, and the whole room was quiet, until a light came out of her and lit up the room. Chapter 1734. 2 years. Feng Ruqing stood up, staring at Tang Yin on the bed and smiled. She is already fine. State Preceptor, let's wait for her outside. She will wake up on her own later. Perhaps from the encounter back then it was destined. There was a tied fate between her and Tang Yin. Feng Ruqing looked at Tang Yin for the last time, and slowly walked toward the door with unspeakable joy. Outside the door, Qianning's eyes were red, looking at Feng Ruqing anxiously. Xiaoye wanted to say something, but she could not make any sound, and only looked at the room with concern on her face. She will wake up later, and when she wakes up, you can bring her back to general manner. Xiaoye, you have to be prepared. Feng Ruqing paused for a moment before continued. Her identity can't be hidden anymore. Xiaoye's heart tightened as she knew what Feng Ruqing was referring to. Her eyes were filled with panic. Qianning wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes. What can't be hidden anymore? Young Lattice identity? Isn't she the young lady of the Tang family? Qianning. Feng Ruqing turned to Qianyang. You can ask Xiaoyin about these things and you will then consider whether to stay by her side or leave. Qianning was Tang Yin's servant, but she had been as close as sisters since she was a child. Tang Yin would certainly not want Qianning to face danger with her, so they would give Qianning a chance to choose. Tears appeared in Qianning's eyes. I only know young lady in this world. She has been so good to me. She would share anything delicious with me since I was little. I will never leave her. No matter what, Feng Ruching smiled and said no more. Qian Ning's choice was within her expectation. She smiled and said, Nan Xian, let's go back first. Qiyu is waiting for us at home. All right. General Manner was as lively as always. The moment Feng Ruching walked into the room, Qiyu cried out with her tiny arms spread wide, and her mouth slightly parted pitifully. Feng Ruching hurriedly went up to hold her little girl in her arms, gently soothing her. As expected, with Feng Ruching by her side, the little girl calmed down and stopped crying. It was heartbreaking to watch the tears in her eyes. How did this little girl recognize her mother right after birth? Moreover, I'm not a stranger. I'm your great-grandfather. Maybe. She isn't familiar with you yet. Me for extra chapters. Feng Ruching looked at the little girl in her arms. Her heart was filled with warmth. Mother. Little Qing Han tugged at Feng Ruching's sleeve, looked up, and asked, What is the little sister's nickname? Feng Ruching paused, and she turned back to Nan Xian. State Preceptor, how about? You give her a nickname? Well, Nan Xian smiled gently. It happens to be summer now, so her nickname will be Xia Xia? Tianya was speechless. This name is so weird. My granddaughter will not agree with it. Xia Xia. Feng Ruching looked at the little girl sleeping in her arms and smiled. That's a good name. Her real name will be Nan Qiyu, and her nickname will be Xia Xia. Chapter 1735. 2 years she wanted to name her Qiyu, because of the little girl's past life. Xia Xia. On the other hand, it sounded a little more pleasant. Little Qing Han blinked. Then in the future will there be Chun Chun, Chiu Chiu and Dong Dong? It's not impossible. Nan Xian's gentle gaze fell on Feng Ruching. When do we get all of them together? Feng Ruching's face darkened. She had just given birth to Xia Xia. And Nan Xian was already asking for another 3? By the way, Feng Ruching seemed to have thought of something, and turned to Tianya. Grandfather, can you arrange someone to keep an eye on Rongqi? I don't know if what he said is true or not, so I still need to keep an eye on him. I understand. Indeed, they only listened to Rongqi alone. Whether it was true or not was still unknown. The safest thing was to keep an eye on him to prevent any bad things. At this moment, in Nan City, Nan Fong stood inside the manor hall furiously. He clenched his fists tightly, and a powerful force surged out, leaving a large hole in the wall. Behind him, a crowd of people trembled, not daring to speak. Tianya. He gritted his teeth with anger in his eyes. I want you to find out why all these soul tokens are not working, and what Tianya has done to these people. The fact that so many soul tokens were invalidated must be because of that bastard Tianya. It proved that not only were the people he sent had all been killed, but they were unable to kill Tianya and his granddaughter. Damn you! Sooner or later, I'll kill you and destroy your soul. My dear husband. Just then a gentle voice came from behind Nan Fong. Nan Fong turned his head, and his eyes fell upon the beautiful woman walking toward him. This woman was very beautiful, and the years had not left too many wrinkles on her face. Her smile and eyes were filled with gentleness. What brings you here? Nan Fong frowned. Every time he saw her, he could not help but see Nan Suyi's face in his mind. The person in front of him was indeed lovely, but compared to Nan Suyi, there was still a gap. I heard that we have lost many skilled masters this time, so I came over to take a look. Wei Rong smiled. My dear husband, if this continues, our people might have a bad opinion of the Nan family. Me for extra chapters. Nan Fong did everything for the sake of the Nan family. These people saw the benefits and naturally decided to serve him. However, if Nan Fong used the people's lives for his own sake, those people would not say anything, but they would certainly have a bad opinion of him. Nan Fang's face was slightly sunken, and he said furiously, Shut up. You don't need to say anything about these matters. I know how to handle them. Wei Rong sneered. If you knew how to handle it, you shouldn't have drugged Nan Suyi back then. That old man had almost noticed it. If I hadn't helped you, do you think you would have been able to handle that old man? If he finds out what you did to Nan Suyi, will you still be in your position now? Nan Fong and Wei Rong were the old master's adopted son and niece. In the end, these two had plotted together and harmed his daughter. If the old master had known what would happen today, would he have made a different choice? She sneered as she brushed her hair and looked at Nan Fong coldly. Back then, that old man knew that Suyi didn't like you and wanted to marry Suyi to someone from Nine Gate. If I hadn't done everything I could to make Nan Suyi look bad in front of the elders of Nine Gate, I'm afraid she would have become a member of Nine Gate now. Chapter 1736. 2 years since then, the relationship between the Nan family and Nine Gate ended. Later, Tianya interfered, causing the Nan family to always get into trouble. Nan Fong lowered his eyes. Indeed, without Wei Rong, it would not have been so easy for me to take charge of the Nan family again, as Nan Suyi might have married into Nine Gate on that day. However, Wei Rong, I can handle everything now. I've already eliminated those useless old things, and the rest are already my people. Wei Rong stepped toward Nan Fong and smiled. But Nan City is like a kingdom. As the emperor of Nan City, you need to care for your people. Nan Fang's face sank as he looked at Wei Rong. She smiled coldly. And have you ever thought about in case one day Suyi comes back? Nan Fong was stunned silent. If Suyi comes back, she will compete with you for the position of head of the Nan family. Don't tell me that Suyi's reputation has been ruined. She is the most capable of holding this position. Nan Fang's face sank. Then, what should I do? Do you know Nan Changfeng? Nan Changfeng. The name made Nan Fang's expression change dramatically. Nan Changfeng, the first master of the Nan family, but he's dead. Why do you bring him up? I once saw in that old man's secret book that there were some cultivation recipes for taming beasts that Nan Changfeng had left for the Nan family. He left a message that if he were reincarnated, he would wish to return to the Nan family. Everyone has been waiting for a male heir of the Nan family, because everyone wanted that person to be Nan Changfeng. But none of those males was the reincarnation of Nan Changfeng until they died. The Nan family has been waiting for him for thousands of years. So what will happen if we say that Xiao Yu is Nan Changfeng? Now that you are a member of the Nan family, it's not strange if I can give birth to the reincarnation of Nan Changfeng. Wei Rong smiled. And we can use this opportunity to reunite with Nine Gate. Nan Changfeng was the first head of the Nan family, but he never married in his life, and did not leave any heir, so Nan Changfeng had chosen an elder in the Nan family to take over his position. Nine Gate, me for extra chapters. No one was clear about the history of Nine Gate. However, Nine Gate had been friends with the Nan family for generations. And it was only about 20 years ago that relations began to deteriorate. But the one thing that she knew clearly, the Nine Gate's faith was the Ninth Emperor. Even if Nine Gate and the Ninth Emperor were not related, the person who established Nine Gate must be related to her or someone who loved the Ninth Emperor. As the Ninth Emperor's man, if Nan Changfeng were reborn in the world, Nine Gate would definitely reunite with the Nan family. That way, Nine Gate would not say anything if the Nan family decided to kill Tianya. Nan Fong was silent, as if he was thinking about something. Wei Rong continued. This is the only way now. Besides, doesn't Nine Gate like Tianya because Tianya is against our Nan family in every way? If the Nan family makes up with Nine Gate, I believe that Nine Gate won't help him anymore. Nan Fong sighed lightly. You're right, and that's the only way. Chapter 1737. 2 years. Wei Rong smiled gently. My dear husband, don't forget me when Suyi comes back. Don't worry. I will never abandon you in my life. Nan Fang's voice was firm, and he looked serious. Wei Rong smiled and lowered her face. Her eyes were cold. He only said that he would not abandon her. He did not say he would not accept Suyi. Maybe she might even have to make way for Suyi on the day Suyi returned. She clenched her fists tightly. Murderous intent gradually emerged in her eyes. 2 years had passed in the blink of an eye. During the 2 years, Tianya searched everywhere for a way to leave Land of No Return, but he found nothing. The only way was to give up his power. Just like Jia Xian and Xiaoya, even Big Black could only come to Land of No Return, with no way to leave. land of no return, as the name suggested, did not allow anyone to leave. Feng Ruching was sitting at the pavilion, leaning against the pillar when suddenly a voice spoke up behind her. She turned slightly and looked sideways at that woman. Xiao Hui smiled and walked toward Feng Ruching. I've been out for 2 years. It's time to go back to Nine Gate. I've just spoken to Tianya and came here to say goodbye to you. Xiao Hui came as a midwife back then. Perhaps because of her affinity with Nan Qiyu, she had not left since then. However, she could not stay away from home for too long, so it was time to go. Oh, Feng Ruching responded smilingly. It's all right. If you want to go home, go back first. If Xia Xia wants to see you later, I'll bring her to you. Me for extra chapters. Thinking of that cute little girl, Xiao Hui was a little reluctant. However, she had to go back to Nine Gate to deal with some matters. She could not stay in general manner. Maiden Feng, farewell. And take care. Xiao Hui turned around and walked out of the courtyard. She soon disappeared from Feng Ruching's eyes. Qingzhu, where is Xia Xia? A green snake next to Feng Ruching raised its head and looked at Feng Ruching. Qingzhu snorted. Xia Xia and Qing Han have gone out. My master has gone to look for them. Oh, Feng Ruching raised her eyebrows. Then I'm not worried. Don't let Xia Xia and Qing Han go out alone. At least ask Fu Chen to follow them. However, since the state preceptor had gone to look for them, she did not need to worry. Feng Ruching opened the book in her hands and leaned back against the pillar comfortably under the sun. Ever since the spiritual qi storm had erupted that day, the entire Wushang city had been caught up in a cultivation frenzy. Even up until now, the air in Wushang city had been denser than ever, causing countless cultivators to flock to the city. To the emperor of Wushang city, the more the people, the higher the profits he would reap. However, because there were more cultivators, he needed to send more guards to guard the city, so that these travelers did not bully his people in the city. At this moment in the bustling streets of Wushang city, sister, that little sister is so pretty. I want to hug her. Standing on the street was a pair of brother and sister. The girl looked about 18 or 19 years old, with a pretty face, clear eyes, fair skin, and a perfect figure. She was holding a 5 or 6-year-old boy, wearing silk, looking straight ahead, not even taking his eyes off her. Behind these two men stood a group of guards guarding them. It was apparent that these two people did not come from ordinary families. Xiaoyu, the girl said, I brought you out secretly without telling your parents, so don't cause any trouble. I don't care. This little sister looks like a little fairy. I like her very much. The boy pouted and refused to leave with the young girl, his voice stubborn, causing the girl's face to flush with embarrassment. The young girl took the boy's hand and walked toward the two little girls across the street. Xia Xia. In the middle of the crowd, little Qing Han stuffed a piece of pastry into the little girl's mouth smilingly. Is it delicious? The little girl was only 2 years old, but she was adorable and pretty like a porcelain doll. Her mouth was stuffed like a pufferfish. It was very cute. Little Qing Han held the little girl's face and looked at Xia Xia unblinkingly. Delicious. Me for extra chapters. Xia Xia's cheeks were full of pastry crumbs. And, my name is Qiyu. You do not respect me. Xia Xia, Aunt Tang is right. You're too precocious. Do you know what respect means? I don't know. Xia Xia's big eyes twinkled. Some time ago, I saw a little brother from next door call Ahua a little pig, and Ahua was furious and scratched him, saying that he didn't respect it. And you guys are also disrespecting me by calling me that. Qing Han took Xia Xia's small hand. It's not the same. Ahua has been overeating recently, and it looks like a little pig. Xia Xia is a nickname. It's father who has chosen it for you. Ahua ate a lot, and was already fatter than it was 2 years ago. Oh! Xia Xia seemed to understand, smiling innocently. She was so adorable. Sister, I miss my mother and want to go home. Alright, let's go home. Qing Han took Xia Xia's small hand. She turned around and was about to leave with Xia Xia when a couple of people suddenly stopped her. The young girl at the forefront was quite friendly, with a smile on her beautiful face and a gentle voice. Little girl, my brother is very fond of your sister. Can you give your sister to my brother for a few days? I'll send her back to you in a few days. Ching Han's small face darkened. You want to buy my sister? No, no. The young girl hurriedly shook her head. We'll only lend her for a few days. We will stay in Wushang City for a few days, and the day we leave, we will return your sister to you. And of course I will pay for it. No, get out of the way. Little Ching Han snorted. She had been with her sister all day, and it was still not enough. Now that person wanted her to give her sister to someone else? No. She had been waiting a long time to have a sister. The young girl was anxious, but without waiting for her to continue persuading Ching Han, Nan Feiyu had already run over to Xia Xia and opened his arms. Cute little sister, let me hug you. Ching Han's expression changed dramatically. She stepped in front of Xia Xia and lifted her foot, kicking Nan Feiyu out of the way. Don't you know any shame? A boy running to hug a girl. Shameless. The boy was caught off guard by a kick and fell to the ground. He cried out loudly, shocking the entire street. I want a little sister. A little sister. The young girl's face turned pale. Everyone in the Nan family, except for the old master, favored sons over daughters. If something happened to her younger brother while they were out, her parents would beat her up severely. Moreover, everyone in Nan City said that her younger brother was Nan Chongfeng. If her brother were harmed, no one in Nan City would let her go. Xiaoyu. The young girl hurriedly went to Nan Feiyu, helped him up from the ground. Are you all right? Did you get hurt? Nan Feiyu was angry and slapped the young girl's face. The young girl pursed her lips, and instead of getting angry, she tried to persuade the boy. Can you just forget about that little girl? I don't care. If she doesn't let me hold her, take her away from me. If my parents were here, they would have obeyed me. You're useless. You are not my sister. Me for extra chapters. The little boy cried even louder, attracting the attention of everyone on the street. The young girl felt very humiliated, but she did not dare to walk away, so she could only walk to Ching Han. Little girl, can you help me? My brother truly adores her, and I will accept all your conditions. She pleaded genuinely. Those guards from the Nan family had also gathered around, surrounding Ching Han and Xia Xia. Bad guys. Xia Xia was not frightened, but she took Ching Han's hand and said, Sister, beat these bad guys. Ching Han pursed her lips, and with a swish, countless vines came out from the ground, instantly tying the group of guards and dangling them in the air. The young girl's face was pale, and her eyes were filled with panic. The guards she brought out were all strong, but this little girl, all the people in the street knew Xia Xia and Ching Han. Seeing these people trying to buy the little girl of General Manor, they all sneered. Maiden, do you know who these two little girls are? They are the daughters of General Tianyas's granddaughter, Feng Ruqing. How dare you treat them like this in Wushang City? Ha ha ha. Those who don't know won't be afraid. Who would have the guts to do such a thing if they knew it? And General Manor has a great reputation in Wushang City. Outsiders like us, we dare not offend. Otherwise, we will be attacked by the crowd. Those sneers from the crowd made the young girl panic. General Manor? Why does a little girl that my brother likes have this status? The young girl bit her pale lip, wanting to say a few words in her defense, but she choked, unable to utter a single word. On the street, a man came, and he was like the sun, dazzling and bright. The young girl had never seen such a handsome man before. He was as stunning as an immortal, but he was so cold to them. The man stopped in front of the two little girls and asked gently, What happened? Ching Han looked at the guards in the air, and released with a vigorous shake. She then smiled. It's all right, father. Nan Xian smiled, and looked at Xia Xia again. Did someone bully you? Father, Xia Xia's mouth fell open. Sister will fight the bad guys. Good. No one dares to bully you. If anyone does, just ask Ching Han to kill them. Nan Xian went forward and bent down to pick Xia Xia up. Let's go home. He did not even so much as glance at the young girl, as if he had never noticed them. The young girl was a little lost inside. He's married. This man looked like he was not close to women. She thought this kind of person should not get married. In the end, it was a disappointment. Somehow, the young girl suddenly wanted to see Feng Ruching, wanting to know what kind of girl could make such a cold man fall in love with her. Me for extra chapters. Sob. Nan Feiyu lay on the ground crying. Why don't you go and get that little sister? Xiao Yu. The young girl's eyes were filled with dread. She's a girl from Tianya's family. I don't care. Even if she doesn't come with me, I still want to hug her. Nan Feiyu's tears flowed, and he cried even more miserably as he watched Xia Xia being taken away, not noticing the mocking gazes around him. This time the girl did not tolerate him anymore. She pulled him up from the ground and walked in the opposite direction. Let's go back. She should never have agreed to take him out. You let go of me. The little boy clawed with his nails across the girl's face, leaving a bloody scar. I'll tell my mother that you didn't help me when they bullied me, and I'll let her beat you up. The young girl paused and lowered her eyes. I can't let you cause trouble outside. This is not Nan City. This is Wushang City. Those people can't beat Tianya. She agreed to bring Nan Feiyu here, because she had heard about the changes that had taken place in Wushang City. However, they could not let Tianya know about it because of the hatred between the two sides. But now, they had offended General Manor and had to leave hurriedly. Otherwise, Tianya would find out about them. Compared to the reckless Nan Feiyu, the young girl was much wiser. She did not even spend the night and left hurriedly, running back to Nan City. As soon as she returned to Nan City, Nan Feiyu ran to the main courtyard in tears. At this time, Wei Rong was drinking tea with some noble ladies of Nan City, and when she saw him crying her heart sank. Ladies, I have some things to do today, so I can't accompany you anymore. Those noble women also saw the tearful Nan Feiyu, but did not ask a word, and said politely, Then we will take our leave, and wait for the next day to visit you. After that, these people left one after another. She hurriedly got up and walked to Nan Feiyu. What's wrong? Didn't you go out with your sister? Who bullied you? I saw a little girl outside and wanted to hug her, but they beat me up, and my sister didn't help me. Her face turned cold. It's an honor for you to like a little girl, let alone hug her. Your sister didn't even help you out? Where is she? As soon as the young girl walked in, she saw that Nan Feiyu had already told on her, and she panicked, rushing forward and trying to defend herself. Mother, shut up. She pointed at the young girl angrily. Nan Luo, as an elder sister, you just stood by and watched your brother being bullied? Mother, no. I'm just smack. Wei Rong raised her hand and slapped Nan Luo's face fiercely. Her face became red and swollen, making her look a mess. I don't care what reason you have. Is this how you take care of your brother? Nan Luo, he is your brother. Your blood relative. How can you bear to see him being bullied? Wei Rong was quite rational, but when it came to Nan Feiyu, she would lose all her senses and become insane. The young girl pursed her lips and sneered. Blood relative. I'm also their blood relative. But when have these people ever treated me as a family? Her mother and father preferred sons to daughters. She was nothing in the family. She only wanted to say that she was afraid of Tianya harming her brother before taking him away. But her mother did not even listen to her explanation. Me for extra chapters. Get out. I don't want to see you now. Wei Rong snapped and pointed to the outside of the courtyard. The young girl looked at Wei Rong, but this time, she did not defend herself any longer, turning around and walking out of the courtyard. She stumbled a bit, but she was very determined. The young girl suddenly thought of Tianya of Wushang City. It was rumored that Tianya loved his granddaughter very much, and would send all the good things in the world to her. And that beautiful man. He looked at his little girl with eyes filled with tenderness. She was also a daughter, but why was she so miserable? As the young lady of the Nan family, her status was high, but her life was not as great as the other girls from other families. At this moment, the girl could not help but feel a little envious of Feng Ruching. She would rather swap identities with her and become Tianya's granddaughter than to be this honorable young lady of the Nan family, Nan City. Not far away, in a small town, a woman dressed in white sat in a tea house drinking her tea. Her face was covered with a white veil, and the breeze blew, revealing a stunning face beneath it. Have you heard about the old master of the Nan family? He's not in good health. When the woman heard that, the hand holding the teacup paused as she lowered her eyes slightly to hide the emotions in them. The old master of the Nan family seems to have been paralyzed and bedridden since a long time ago, the man continued. But lately, he seems to be getting worse, and I'm afraid he won't be able to live much longer. Tisk, I do not know where the young lady of the Nan family ran away to. Someone said that she had spent a long time outside the city, and when she came back to the Nan family, she was like someone who had lost her lover and could not live without him. The old master was furious with his disobedient and ungrateful daughter, causing him to fall sick and go paralyzed. The old master's biggest tragedy in his life is to get his long-lost daughter back, and in the end, bad things still happen to him. All these years, the new head of the Nan family has provided some herbs to the old master to help him. Otherwise, the old master would have been dead a long time ago. But the old master is still angry with his unfilial daughter, and this time, it seems like he doesn't want to live anymore. The old master's life was full of glory, but his daughter had ruined him. All his dignity was destroyed, leaving him with no more faith to live. The woman stood up, clenched her fists tightly, and walked out of the tea house. On the mountain outside the town, a white phoenix looked at the water's reflection and saw a white dress figure approaching it. Its eyes lit up, and it flew over with its wings flapping. Sui, you're back? Sui's dress was as white as snow. Her eyes were full of determination. White Phoenix, let's go down the mountain and go to the Nan family. The Nan family? The white phoenix tilted its head and looked at Sui blankly. Why are we going to the Nan family? Shouldn't we be looking for Xiaoqing? I haven't even seen Xiaoqing's child yet, and I want that little girl to call me grandfather White Phoenix. It raised its head proudly as it said this, its wings fluttering arrogantly. Me for extra chapters. No, I still have few things to settle with the Nan family. Sui slowly turned around and turned her back to the White Phoenix. I have avoided Mu Ling my whole life, and I haven't gone down the mountain for more than 10 years. I can't protect Nan Xian. I don't want to bring any harm to him. If Nan Xian and Qinger knew about her past with the Nan family, with their character, they would not have let those things go. However, the Nan family was too powerful. She could not let them endure such a violent storm. Even though she had been here for 2 years, she had never taken a step off the mountain. She was afraid that the people of the Nan family would find out about her existence, and even more afraid that they would find out about Nan Xian and Qinger. But didn't we agree that we would go to the Nan family when we are strong enough? The White Phoenix looked confused. Sui pursed her lips. I'm afraid that we can't wait until then. She was afraid that when she went back, she would not see her father again. She could not wait any longer without knowing how anxious her father had been during the years of her disappearance. She had to go to the Nan family now. All right, the White Phoenix smiled. Sui, I'll accompany you to the ends of the earth, to heaven and hell. No matter what dangers awaited them ahead, the White Phoenix would always be there for her. White Phoenix. Sui raised her hand and hugged the White Phoenix's head gently. Thank you for accompanying me for so many years. From the time she appeared in front of the White Phoenix, covered in blood, it was perhaps destined that they would stay together for the rest of their lives, never leaving each other. Sui, I don't have any family. You, Nan Xian, and Xiaoqing are my only family. The White Phoenix laughed. So no matter where you go, I will follow. Sui held the White Phoenix tightly in her arms, knowing that this trip to the Nan family would be extremely dangerous, and that her only guilt was that she had dragged the White Phoenix down with her. However, she also understood that even if she allowed the White Phoenix to leave, this fellow would never go. Then let's go. I'm afraid if we don't go now, maybe I won't be able to see him ever again. Sui dropped her eyes that were filled with sadness. The White Phoenix opened its mouth, wanting to say if the old master of the Nan family was suffering from illness, Feng Ruqing could heal him. However, he also understood that Sui was unwilling to let Feng Ruching become involved in this matter for fear that it would drag her into danger. Moreover, no one knew if they could meet the old master of the Nan family. However, the White Phoenix would always stay by Sui's side. Sui turned around. She looked through the clouds, as if she saw the familiar hometown. 1,000 miles away she smiled. Father, I'm back. After more than 2 decades, she finally returned. I'm sorry that I left you alone to face so many hardships back then. However, this time I'm back, and I won't let anything bad happen to you. I will make all those who hurt me back then pay the price. In Nan City, it was as peaceful as usual. Just on this day, a loud bang was heard at Nan City's main gate. The 2 guards guarding the gate flew backward and landed on the ground miserably. Me for extra chapters. The people in the city were shocked and startled. They turned to look at the city gate. A phoenix hovered in the air, spitting flame, destroying the entire city gate. A woman dressed in white stood under the white phoenix. She was so beautiful, with elegance and nobility in her gestures and movements. You are. Some of the people in the city remembered the famous young lady Nan Sui. So, when they saw that somewhat familiar face, they could not help as their eyes widened in shock. Nan Sui. It can't be her. Nan Sui has been gone for so many years. Why does she still look so young? The ladies of the Nan family look young, because they have consumed spirit herbs to maintain their beauty. But Nan Sui has been away from home for many years. Where did she get so many spirit herbs? Someone finally came to their senses and hurriedly said, "Go and report to the manor master that Nan Sui is back. Quickly." Nan Manor. Inside the study room, Nan Fong was tapping his fingers on the desk, frowning. There was an open book in front of him. "Master." A panicked voice came from outside the study room, and without waiting for Nan Fong to speak, the guard quickly ran in anxiously. "Master, young lady Sui. She's back." Sui. Nan Fong stood up abruptly, his eyes filled with joy. She's back. Nan Fong had never forgotten Sui. He hated her, but he still wanted her. Furthermore, he was different now, and Sui couldn't escape from him. "Take me to see her." "Yes, master." The guard wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and spoke respectfully. Meanwhile, inside the luxurious room, Wei Rong sat in front of the table, drinking her tea. Young lady Sui is back." Crash! Her fingers stiffened. The teacup fell to the ground, breaking into pieces. The tea was spilled all over the floor. Her face darkened as she stood up and said, "Did you just say Sui is back?" Sui was the only woman in Nanfang's heart. He had never given up on her even after she had rejected him so many times. He thought Sui would choose him after he had ruined her reputation. Who knew she still did not even so much as glance at him? However, to Wei Rong, Sui was a nightmare, and her arrival would take everything away from her. She had worked so hard to get all that she had now. She would never allow Sui to take it back. After taking a deep breath, she held her anger and said coldly, "It's good that Sui is back. No matter what, she's still the old master's daughter." "Yes, lady." The servant took the order and left. After the servant left, Wei Rong pushed everything off the table to the ground. Her gaze was cold. "Sui, why did you come back? This is not a place for you to stay. I had allowed you to live back then. But this time, I won't let you go again." Me for extra chapters. There can be only one lady in the Nan family. She had sacrificed so much for Nan Fong. How could she be willing to give him up to another woman? Nan Sui was her enemy, and she would never let her enemy go. At the city gate, Nan Fong hurriedly ran over, and from a distance, he saw a figure in a snow-colored dress. The woman was as beautiful as she was back then. He had wanted to marry Sui at first, not only because she was the old master's daughter, but also because he wanted to have her. Unfortunately, he could not get what he wanted, and Sui was still rejecting him. "Sui, you're back?" Nan Fong walked toward Sui. He thought that he hated Sui and never wanted to see her again. However, now he knew that he would never be able to let her go in this life. The White Phoenix suddenly felt a bit worried. Here comes another bastard with evil intentions toward Sui. "Sui, is he Nan Fong? He's so ugly and not half as handsome as me." The white phoenix snorted and said with disdain. Nan Fong ignored the white phoenix for the fact that it was a bird. He had plenty of ways to make the spirit beast obey him. Well, Suyi's face was soft and elegant as she slowly walked toward Nan Fong. I came back this time because I want to see my father. Nan Fong frowned. Suyi, did you know that the old master was very angry with you? He is paralyzed now. If you see him again, won't that make him angrier? Suyi sneered. I believe you know better than anyone else why my father is paralyzed. Of course I know, Nan Fong sighed. The old master only has one daughter, and he wants you to be good and obedient, but you disobeyed him, and you did countless things that made him so angry. For the sake of my master's health, I can't let you see him. But you are still the young lady of the Nan family, and no one can take your place. This was the last sentence that Wei Rong heard when she arrived. She saw the same light in Nan Fang's eyes again, and her expression was somewhat cold. Bottomless anger bubbled in her heart. She said, Suyi, my husband is right. You are the eldest daughter of the Nan family, and no one can replace you. The old master is sick. It's better if you don't meet him. The white phoenix looked at the two coldly and sneered. It seems like the Nan family will never let Suyi meet the old master. Suyi. The white phoenix turned to look at Suyi with worry in its eyes. Suyi smiled faintly. I don't think anyone can stop me from going back to the Nan family. She had returned to the Nan family. Was she still afraid that she would not have a chance to see the old master? If Sister Suyi wants to come back, I will naturally welcome you. I have said that you will always be the young lady of the Nan family, and no one will ever be able to replace your position. Nan Fong smiled. Suyi has been away for all these years. You must have suffered a lot. Now that you're back, and I will protect you. He stretched out his hand to hold Suyi's hand, but Suyi quickly dodged it. Her gaze was cold. I've had a good life outside all these years, and have not suffered any hardships. If it wasn't because I want to meet the old master, I wouldn't have come back. If she had not left the Nan family, she would not have met Mu Ling. Of course, she had no feelings for him anymore. However, she was thankful to Mu Ling. It was because of him. She had Nan Xian as her son, me for extra chapters. Suyi did not know that it was already destined that she would give birth to Nan Xian, something that had been predetermined since 1,000 years ago. No matter who her husband was, Nan Xian would become her son. Just because there was Feng Ruching in this world. The Nan family had only one daughter, Suyi. Nan Chongfeng had left a promise that he would be born in the Nan family. So Suyi was destined to be his mother, and there would be no one else. It was because she did not know it that she still had a little gratitude in her heart for Mu Ling. Thanking him for allowing her to have Nan Xian. Let's go. Nan Fong forced a smile. He did not ask for anything. As long as Suyi came back in time, this woman would always be his. In the past, she had the old master backing her up and indulging her. But now that the old master was dying, Suyi would be his sooner or later. Suyi. The white phoenix turned to Suyi slightly upset. This guy has some bad intentions. Suyi's eyes lowered slightly, looking at Nan Fong coldly. It's alright. He won't dare to do anything to me. Moreover, I'm already married. Nan Fang's face instantly darkened. Suyi is already married? Who dares to steal Nan Fang's woman? If I find out, I'll make sure that person dies a horrible death. Sister Suyi, Wei Rong smiled. Let's go. I've already prepared a room for you. Suyi did not say a word, and walked away from Wei Rong. Her cold eyes made Wei Rong's expression change dramatically. She is still like before. She's just the same as she was more than 20 years ago, with the same arrogant face. Doesn't she understand that now she's no different than a servant? Even though she was angry with Suyi, she did not show it in front of Nan Fong, and followed Suyi with a livid face. As soon as she entered Nan Manor, she met Nan Feiyu, who was tearful. Nan Feiyu cried out loud and pounced at Wei Rong. Mother, sister doesn't want to take me out to play and even bullied me. Help me to beat her. When she looked up, she saw the young girl, Nan Luo, entering from the courtyard. When Nan Luo saw Wei Rong had returned, she paused for a moment. She was just about to turn around when Wei Rong picked up a stick, beating her arms hard. How dare you bully your brother? Nan Luo's eyes were red, not daring to cry out. I didn't bully him. Then why don't you want to take him out to play? I am afraid he'll get in trouble. Nan Luo's voice cracked. Wei Rong raised the stick again, and was just about to hit Nan Luo, but she stopped when she heard Suyi's sneer. It seems that you haven't changed over the years. I thought that after you became Nan Fang's wife, you could control your temper, but it got worse. You don't even spare your daughter. How can someone like you be worthy of being a mother? If she had a daughter, she would treat her gently. How could she bear to beat her for a spoiled brat? Me for extra chapters. Although she did not have a daughter, she did have a daughter-in-law. She loved her daughter-in-law, and would never beat Qing'er for the sake of Nan Xian. Moreover, Nan Luo and Nan Feiyu were both Wei Rong's biological children. That's enough. Nan Fang's face turned cold and snapped. Look at what you look like now, like a madwoman. Stop it now. Wei Rong dropped the stick, grabbed Nan Feiyu's arm, and left. Nan Luo raised her head, and her eyes fell upon Suyi. The woman was dressed in a soft and elegant dress, stunningly beautiful. And this kind of temperament she had seen not long ago. On another person, it was the same. Thinking of that handsome man again, Nan Luo pursed her lips and lowered her head, looking pitiful. Suyi did not look at Nan Luo, but she spoke up because she did not like how Wei Rong treated her daughter. To her, the daughter must be treated gently. However, this little girl was also too cowardly, unlike her daughter, Qing'er, who would have fought back if someone bullied her, and would not have stayed with these kinds of people. Qing'er would never be bullied by others. Thank you. Thank you. Nan Luo finally found the courage to raise her head, and looked at Suyi sincerely. Thank you very much. Suyi did not like such a cowardly little girl, but Nan Luo thanked her, so she nodded and said, No need to thank me. I just hate to see someone being bullied in front of me. If you are not happy here, then just leave. Nan Luo laughed bitterly. My mother lectured me, because she cared about my brother. I can endure this. Suyi was stunned. Her expression grew colder. She looked at Nan Luo, said no more. She turned around and walked away. She asked for it, so she can't blame anyone. And I won't help her again. Suyi, the White Phoenix sneered. She's such a stupid girl. My girl Xiao Qingqing is better. Even Nan Xian obeys her. Suyi glanced at the White Phoenix. Don't call her my girl Xiao Qingqing in front of Nan Xian. Otherwise, Nan Xian will turn you into soup, and I will not save you. The White Phoenix felt a bit aggrieved. When I marry Suyi in the future, Xiao Qingqing will be my daughter. I'm telling the truth. Xiao Qingqing is so brave while that girl is too cowardly. She was bullied like this, and she even backed Wei Rong up. I would be so angry if you have a daughter like that. Suyi smiled faintly. If I had a daughter, I would never let her be too cowardly. She should know that there is no way for a weak person to live in this world. Moreover, Suyi paused for a moment and continued, she is not only foolish, she also doesn't want to give up her title as the young lady of the Nan family. The White Phoenix seemed lost. She is being bullied here. Why does she still want to live as the young lady of the Nan family? Only her parents and brother bully her, but outside, she is the most glamorous daughter of the Nan family. If she is bullied outside, Nan Fong won't stay silent. It's just that between the daughter and the son, they chose the son. Suyi sneered. If she leaves, won't she lose the title as the young lady? Perhaps. She wants to find a place where she can still live like a young lady, before she leaves the Nan family. The White Phoenix nodded. It would never have thought of this, me for extra chapters. My Suyi is so smart. And, be careful of Namfong. I'm afraid he will do something to you. Suyi looked down, and her voice was heavy. I'm not afraid. I'll be by Suyi's side for the rest of my life. No one can separate us. The White Phoenix's eyes were filled with determination. Not far away, Nan Luo's eyes were fixed upon Suyi, who had left with the White Phoenix. She bit her lip and turned to Nan Fong. Father, that woman. Nan Fong was not like Wei Rong. Even if he liked his son, he would not treat Nan Luo coldly. She is Suyi. You have to call her aunt. Nan Luo was somewhat dumbfounded. So, she is Nan Suyi. Has that aunt gotten married yet? Does she have a son or? Nan Fang's face sank. These are not the things you should be asking. Besides, I think Suyi seems to like you quite a lot. So you should go and talk to her more often. Nan Luo turned and looked at Suyi's departing back again and sighed. The gentleman she met in Wushang City was so similar to Nan Suyi. If only he could be Suyi's son. Unfortunately, he was not her son. Otherwise, he would have come back with Suyi. I know. I'll go and spend more time with my aunt. Good. Nan Fang smiled faintly. Nan Luo, can you help me put this thing in Suyi's soup? Nan Luo paused and looked at Nan Fang in shock. She watched Nan Fang take out a packet of powder from his pocket and handed it to her. Father, you use this to control the spirit beast's mind. Nan Fang's face was expressionless. Give it to Suyi. Nan Luo's hands were trembling. She did not dare to take that powder. Her eyes were filled with worry. Isn't Suyi my aunt? Why does father treat her like this? Father, why are you doing this? Nan Luo's voice trembled. You don't have to know why I did this. If you want your mother to treat you well, you better listen to me and do what I say otherwise. I won't accept you as my daughter in the future. Nan Fang sneered and looked at Nan Luo coldly. Nan Luo took the powder. Her fingers were trembling, and her eyes were filled with tears. Go. Remember what I told you. And don't let Suyi know, or you know what will happen to you. Nan Fang waved his sleeve. His voice was cold. Nan Luo bit her lip and lowered her head. To her father, the son was everything and the daughter. She was only a tool. I understand, father. Her voice was low, so low that it was almost inaudible. She had never done this kind of thing in her life. She stared at the bag of powder in her hands, her heart beating faster. The sky in Wushang City was clear. Wushang City had no more cloudy days since the spiritual Qi storm's appearance 2 years ago. The air was fresher than usual, making people come and stay for a long time. Mother! Mother! Xiaxia's body was so small and soft that she could not even walk steadily. But she ran toward the woman sitting in the pavilion. Me for extra chapters. When there was no one to hold her, she would accidentally fall to the ground. But after she fell, she stood up again giggling. Xiaxia! Feng Ruqing rushed toward Xiaxia, picking her up smilingly. Does it hurt? It doesn't hurt. Xiaxia laughed innocently. She put her small dirty hand on Feng Ruqing's face and said, It doesn't hurt if I have you, mother. A black handprint appeared on Feng Ruqing's face. Xiaxia! Feng Ruqing took a deep breath, trying to control her anger. She's my daughter. I can't hit her. Daughter must be handled gently. Xiaxia, remember to wash your hands next time. She softened her tone and said, And don't go out alone with Qing Han. Xiaxia smiled cutely and innocently and kissed Feng Ruqing. She then whispered, Mother, let's play with fire with sister. Fire? Feng Ruqing's face darkened. You guys went out and set a fire? Who said it first? She knew that these two girls could not be left alone. Aunt Tang. Feng Ruqing gritted her teeth. Where is Tangyin? Did she take you to set the fire? What if you burnt yourselves? Xiaxia looked at Feng Ruqing blankly. Never do that again, do you understand? Her anger eased. She really could not be angry with her adorable little girl. Xiaxia smiled brightly. The innocent smile was like sunshine. Alright, I'll listen to mother. Mother, Xiaxia wants a big doggy. No big doggy. Hearing this, Xiaxia pouted, and tears almost fell from her eyes. I want a big doggy. Feng Ruqing turned and saw Big Black coming to her. When the young man saw Feng Ruqing standing in the pavilion, he greeted her happily. Little Nine. Looking at the young man's face full of joy as he walked over, Feng Ruqing smirked, pointed at the young man and said, The big doggy you wanted is here. Big Black's face stiffened, and he looked at Feng Ruqing pitifully. However, without waiting for him to say anything, Xiaxia had already pounced upon him. The little girl's eyes sparkled as bright as stars, innocent and lovely. My big doggy. But this big doggy, why does it look like a person? Xia Xia tilted her small head and looked at Big Black confused. I'm not a big doggy. Big Black gritted his teeth, his face darkened. Xia Xia's mouth fell open, and tears almost rolled out. But that pitiful little look softened Big Black's heart. He sighed. If your mother says so then. All right. After all, he did turn into a dog to stay with little Nine back then. Big Black. Feng Ruching raised her eyes, looking at Big Black. Did you come to see me for something? Little Nine, what will you do to those Nan family's men? Just let them go. Recently there are too many people in Wushang City. And there are people from Nan City. In case they see it, it will definitely lead to trouble again. Me for extra chapters. Big Black's eyes darkened. His body emitted a murderous intent when the Nan family was mentioned. He would never forget the humiliation he suffered there. And if he had not escaped, perhaps he would never see his little Nine again in this life. Feng Ruching smiled, turning her gaze to the sky not far away. I'll bring this group of people to the Nan family. I will also make those who have hurt Suyi pay the price. Big Black stepped forward slowly. His fair and handsome face was filled with determination. Little Nine, I will accompany you to that place. Those bastards of the Nan family are not human. He never told Feng Ruching what had happened to him in Nan City back then. It was a shame that could never be removed from his heart. Ever since he was born, he had never been locked up in a cage. Well, I will certainly go there. Xia Xia, come on. Let's go to find your father. Feng Ruching smiled and took Xia Xia's hand. Xia Xia followed Feng Ruching with a bright smile on her face. All right, let's go. Looking at Feng Ruching's departure figure, Big Black still wanted to say something, but all the words were stuck in his mouth, unable to come out. From afar, Feng Ruching saw a man standing under the tree in front of the gate. Seemingly sensing her presence, the man turned his head and looked at Feng Ruching smilingly. Chinger. Nan Xian. Feng Ruching smiled gently and sweetly. She let go of Xia Xia's hand and walked over to him. Recently, I always feel that Wushang City is quite messy. The previous spiritual chi storm in Wushang City has attracted too many people, and those spiritual energies still haven't dissipated by now. I'm worried that someone will try to conquer Wushang City. We need to warn grandfather. Nan Xian lowered his eyes. He smiled. Chinger, I'll always protect you. Xia Xia stood obediently at the side, pouting, looking at Nan Xian blankly. Somehow she felt like her father was ignoring her existence. Father, hug me. She opened her arms and smiled brightly. Only then did Nan Xian seem to notice her presence and glanced at her. You're too heavy. Xia Xia was stunned. She pouted pitifully and turned to look at Feng Ruching. Nan Xian, don't be too mean to her. When Feng Ruching saw such a pitiful little appearance, her heart felt like it had been hit, and she squatted down to pick her little girl up. Nan Xian was speechless. He felt that since his daughter's birth, there was no place for him in Chinger's heart. Nine Gate. It was located on a high mountain to the north of the mainland. Xiao Hui walked into Nine Gate hurriedly, without looking back. Nine Gate. It was called Nine Gate because there were 9 mountains surrounding it, and 9 revered masters ran each mountain. They were usually devoted to cultivation, nothing else. Venerable Xiao Hui, you are back? Me for extra chapters. A guard greeted her and said respectfully, the other dignitaries are already waiting for you. Xiao Hui frowned, but she did not say much. Her heart beat faster as she stepped into the meeting hall. Several other dignitaries were already sitting and waiting in the meeting hall, and when the door opened, everyone's eyes fell upon Xiao Hui. Xiao Hui was a little nervous. She frowned as she entered slowly. What did you call me back in such a hurry? Xiao Hui. The one who spoke was an old man in gray robes. His face was expressionless and cold. Our Nine Gate is rarely involved with the outside world. But why didn't you tell us about such a big thing that has happened? Xiao Hui's eyes sank. I don't know what you're talking about. How dare you say you don't know about the spiritual chi storms in Wushang City? It's been 2 years, and you haven't come to tell us, and we know you've stayed in general manner of Wushang City this past 2 years. Xiao Hui smiled faintly. These matters have nothing to do with our Nine Gate. Even though I was in Tianyas Manor, I don't know why the spiritual chi storm happened. I can't answer you even if you ask me. Is that so? The old man in gray robes smiled faintly. Then why did someone come to tell me that you went to Tianya's manor to deliver a baby for Tianya's granddaughter? You, as the revered divine physician of Nine Gate, went to do the work of delivering a baby? Xiaohu's face was expressionless. It's not the first time that I delivered a baby. And what does it have to do with the spiritual chi storm? Xiaohui, we are both esteemed persons of Nine Gate. We shouldn't do things like that. Tianya, and we are destined to go on two different paths. We tried to invite Tianya to become one of the Nine Gate revered masters, but he had rejected us. The 9 revered masters of Nine Gate only rely on their power to hold the position and be accepted by the other revered masters. Initially, they adored Tianya's talent. Furthermore, Tianya had a grudge against the Nan family, so they naturally wanted to let him join Nine Gate. However, Tianya refused. They did not expect Xiaohui would hide it from them for Tianya's sake. Xiaohui, 2 days ago, someone came to tell us that a little girl from General Manor was born when the spiritual chi storm happened on that day. Someone witnessed a white light appearing in the room where the delivery took place. What else do you want to say now? Xiaohui was speechless. When Xia Xia was born, there was a strange light in the room. Why didn't I notice it? I don't know what you're talking about. Xiaohui, another white-robed old man, could not sit still and stand up fiercely. The ancestor of the Nan family was Nan Changfeng. Is it hard for you not to know the history of our Nine Gate? Xiaohui was stunned and remained silent. Thousands of years ago, Tianling clan was wiped out, and their holy maiden was the only one who left in Tianling clan, but was killed when seeking revenge. She was the one who built Nine Gate, and it was recorded by the ancestor of Nine Gate in the history book. Tianling clan people were all extremely talented and proud of themselves, especially the holy maiden, who was said to have been born without a father or a mother. On the day she was born, the spiritual chi flocked to her, making Tianling clan even more prosperous at that time. And the holy maiden name was Qiyu. Xiaohui clenched her fists tightly. When Feng Ruqing named her daughter Qiyu, she thought the name was familiar, but could not remember it for a moment. Me for extra chapters. With the spiritual chi storm that suddenly appeared in Wushang City. No. Impossible. What do you mean? Xiaohui sneered. What right do you have to question me here? Since you don't welcome me now, I'm leaving. She turned around and wanted to leave. She had to go back and tell Feng Ruqing that she could not call her daughter Qiyu for the time being. If Xia Xia were the holy maiden, with the temper of these old men, they would definitely bring her here to cultivate her, and they would take her away from Feng Ruqing forever. As a mother, Feng Ruqing would not agree to let her daughter achieve this much. She only wanted to spend the rest of her life with her daughter and watch her grow. Xiaohui. The old man in gray robes stood up and smiled coldly. Do you want to go back and inform them about this matter? Unfortunately, the holy maiden of Tianling can only grow up in Nine Gate, and only in Nine Gate can she be cultivated and become more powerful. I know you have feelings for that little girl, and after we bring her back, we can leave her in your care. There's nothing to worry about. The grudge between Tianya and the Nan family is so deep that it is definitely not safe for that girl to stay in General Manor. Xiaohui turned angrily. I have told you, she is just an ordinary girl, and you still want to separate the mother and daughter, just based on mere speculation. I would never do such a thing. Xiaohui, we are doing this for her good. The old man in gray robes looked a little upset. His face sank. I admit that Tianya is quite powerful, but that doesn't mean he can train the holy maiden well. Do you want to ruin her future? Besides, Nine Gate also needs a leader here. Moreover, there are other forces besides the Nan family and Nine Gate in this mainland. Have you ever thought about what will happen if they know about her existence? If we can find the cause of the spiritual chi storm, I don't believe other forces can't. Tianya is alone there. How can he defend himself against so many powerful people? Xiaohui stopped in her tracks. She turned around and sneered. I've said that she is not the holy maiden of Tianling clan. How do you know that Xia Xia does not want to stay with Maiden Feng? How can you bear to separate a mother from her daughter? If anything, they should voluntarily send Xia Xia here. But I don't think Maiden Feng will do so. She loves her daughter. Even if she is really in danger, she will not send her daughter to Nine Gate. Xiaohui. The white-robed old man was not as calm as the one in gray robes. He snapped. Whether she's the holy maiden or not, we will know it once we bring her back to Nine Gate. Since you already know what we're up to, I won't allow you to leave Nine Gate again. Xiaohui's eyes grew colder. And what if I still want to? Xiaohui, how can you be a match for the 8 of us? The old man laughed. You don't have to worry too much. We won't harm the holy maiden's mother. After all, I still expect the holy maiden to be our master in the future, but she must follow our rules. Xiaohui clenched her fists tightly. When she and Maiden Feng were inside the room that day, she did not see any strange light at all, not even the people outside. How did someone else see a strange light? Nine Gate wanted Xia Xia, Maiden Feng, and the others still did not know about it. There was no guarantee that they would not be in danger. So, she must go to them. Xiaohui drew her long sword, smirked. I have owed a favor to Tianya, so even if I kill all of you today, you won't be able to stop me. Xiaohui, me for extra chapters. All the masters were a bit annoyed. They were doing it for the holy maiden and the sake of Nine Gate. Why did Xiaohui betray them like that? Xiaohui, we call you back today not to confirm the holy maiden's identity, but we don't want you to interfere. We have sent our people to Wushang City. Do you think that even if you leave, you can stop them? Xiaohui's face changed dramatically, and her eyes flamed with anger. Separating mother and daughter is against human conscience and morality. God will punish all of you. We are not hurting anyone. We just want to take her away, and God will not meddle in such idle matters. Xiaohui, that girl has been destined to come to Nine Gate. If you stay, you can still take care of the child for us. But if you leave, we can't guarantee if the other people can treat her well. Xiaohui's hand trembled as she looked at these people's cold faces. She then dropped her sword helplessly and closed her eyes. Indeed, I won't be able to come back if I leave now. But if I stay, I can still take Xia Xia away and send her back to Maiden Feng. Land of No Return. The storm was coming. General Manor was unusually quiet as the calm before the storm. What did you just say? Feng Ruqing stood up from the chair angrily. She frowned at Rong Qi, who was standing in front of her, and said coldly, Say it again. Maiden Feng, I've sent my men to Nan City, and they said young lady Sui has returned to the Nan family. Rong Qi's expression was serious. Feng Ruqing's face sank. She turned to look at Nan Xian. Nan Xian, do you think that Sui, who has returned to the Nan family, is your mother? Nan Xian glanced at Rong Qi coldly. Is there someone else following her? Oh, and a white phoenix accompanied her. A white phoenix? Why didn't she come to us, but instead went directly to the Nan family? Nan Xian, I can't wait any longer. Let's go to the Nan family now so that Sui won't be bullied in the Nan family. Those people did not dare to bully Sui openly, but Rong Qi said that Sui had almost married Nan Feng. Nan Feng did not marry Sui back then, and he might not be willing to do so now. Alright, then we can go. Nan Xian knew why Sui did not come to them. She did not want to drag them in this matter. Perhaps she wanted to settle the matter of the Nan family alone, so that no one could threaten them before she returned. Rong Qi, I'll go with Nan Xian. The rest of you stay at home. You must follow Xia Xia like a shadow to protect her. Xia Xia loved to run around. There were so many outsiders in the city now. What if they kidnapped her? Feng Ruqing sighed helplessly. After giving her orders, she walked out of the room. Rong Qi wanted to follow Feng Ruqing to the Nan family, but he did not dare to disobey her, so he had to stay in General Manor. The moment she stepped out of the room, Feng Ruqing met Xia Xia playing around. Me for extra chapters. She smiled and walked toward Xia Xia. Mother! Xia Xia's eyes lit up, running to Feng Ruqing. She raised her hands and hugged her mother's legs, smiling brightly and innocently. Feng Ruching touched Xia Xia's head, looking up to see Tang Yin following the little girl. Tang Yin, where is my grandfather? Tang Yin smiled. Grandfather Tianya has gone out, saying he's meeting with an old friend. Oh, recently, there are more cultivators in Wushang City. Tang Yin, you look after Xia Xia and don't let her go out. Nan Xian and I are going to the Nan family. We might take a while. At least there are many people in General Manor who can protect Xia Xia. If she goes out and gets abducted by someone. Feng Ruching sighed. She finally understood what was on her father's mind back then. It was not easy to raise a daughter. Feng Ruching turned and looked at Nan Xian. Nan Xian, aren't you worried about Xia Xia? Oh, there's nothing to worry about as long as she doesn't run off. If Xia Xia grows up and wants to marry someone then, well, if he's a good man, then she can marry him as she wishes. Feng Ruching was speechless. It seemed like not all fathers in the world were like Feng Tianyu. Nan Xian looked so calm, and she could not see any emotions on his face as she mentioned Xia Xia. However, Feng Ruching knew that even though Nan Xian did not show it, his concern for Xia Xia was no less than hers as a mother. It was just that he was more likely to let Xia Xia have more freedom and would not bother too much. Mother! Xia Xia pulled Feng Ruching's sleeve, almost crying out. Don't go. Feng Ruching's heart softened. Well, go find your grandmother. And when we come back next time, well, bring her back with us. Don't go. Xia Xia seemed to sense that Feng Ruching would leave for a long time, and her eyes were red. Let father go alone. Mother, don't leave. Nan Xian was speechless. He glanced at Xia Xia, pulling Feng Ruching into his arms. It's getting late. Let's go. All right. Feng Ruching squatted down and raised her hand to hug Xia Xia, a bit reluctant to leave her here. I promise I'll be back soon. Xia Xia looked at Feng Ruching, eventually letting go of her small hand. She pouted pitifully. Can't we let father go there alone? No. Oh, Xia Xia lowered her small head a little frustrated. Feng Ruching was afraid that the more she stayed, the more reluctant she would be to leave. She stood up and looked at Nan Xian. Let's go. Let's bring Sui back. Nan Xian nodded slightly. A smile appeared on his handsome face. Little Nine. A voice came from the back. Feng Ruching turned and saw a young man in a black robe dashing toward her, his face full of anxiety. Little Nine, if you want to go to the Nan family, wait for me. I want to go with you. He and the Nan family still had a grudge against each other, and he would never let them go. All right, let's go. Feng Ruching smiled faintly. She looked at Xia Xia once again before turning around and walked out of General Manor. Me for extra chapters. Feng Ruching only spoke to Rongqi about her departure. She did not tell Tianya, because she knew Tianya would also want to go with her. One thing that Feng Ruching did not understand, these few days, her heart was beating hard, and she somehow felt a bit restless. The sunset glowed in the entire sky in Wushang City. Xia Xia stared in the direction where Feng Ruching had left, and her tears almost fell again. Tang Yin squatted down and squeezed the little girl's chubby cheeks. Xia Xia, look, I also can't leave your mother behind, but your mother chose that dog. We can't do anything about it. Xia Xia turned to Tang Yin blankly. Is father a dog? Why did Aunt Tang call father a dog? Yes. Tang Yin nodded, smiling and laughing. He is a dog who specializes in taking other people's lovers. Xia Xia was stunned. So, father is a big doggy. Just as Tang Yin was about to leave with Xia Xia, the whole sky suddenly darkened, as if overcast with clouds. She stopped in her tracks and pursed her lips, confused. Countless figures came from the sky and landed in front of Tang Yin. Tang Yin held Xia Xia's hand tightly and looked at the group of people in front of her. Who are you? What are you doing here? A woman in a green dress with a beautiful face smiled. We have come to take the little girl next to you. If you give her to us, we won't harm anyone in Tianya's manor. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.